Hi guys, so I was recently sent a couple of miniatures for a Kickstarter, and as you can see this is one of them. This is a Yeti, and this was painted in the good old slapchop painting technique. Well, you see a bit more of that later on as I paint another miniature that way. So yeah, this Kickstarter, it's for Dungeons and Dragons, it's 5e compatible, and yeah, Legend of Keepers. So if you haven't seen this already, it's the amount of stuff you get in this is just amazing. It's a glorious book, full colour, lots of illustrations. But obviously my main sort of reason for getting behind this is, well, all these miniatures. And there are an absolute shed load. So tons of miniatures, there's terrain pieces, there's obviously that dice tower there, obviously nice large dragons. But the fun thing with this is you can actually play this game as the monsters and fight the heroes, which I think is pretty awesome. So yeah, along with obviously them sending me out a couple of miniatures, they did actually unlock, or someone unlocked, a miniature of me, which is obviously what I'm going to be painting here. So as well as myself, there's lots of obviously other YouTubers that sort of painted and do miniatures and all the rest of it. But obviously this is the one that I'm concerned with. And I mentioned to them that I obviously love dwarfs and I'm normally a druid. So they've made my figure and a little backstory, which is awesome. So stuck it on a little USB, pushed a couple of buttons on my Anycubic X2, and here we go. Miniature and base, well, printed perfectly. I always say this, but a good sign of these sort of 3D model makers is how well they do the supports. As you can see, they just come off a treat. So this has been cleaned. It's now in some warm water. And then it's just a case of, well, sort of gently prizing these away. So this has got a few, not exactly delicate bits, but obviously he has got his fingers and the staff there. So some areas you do need to be pretty careful with. So yeah, just sort of teasing it all off. And then eventually, yeah, pops off. Which, I say, is definitely a good sign of a 3D model maker because they've taken the time to make supports that are just awesome. So there's a few little ones in there, but I'll have to get sort of the scalpel out, just sort of prize them out. And here we go, the good old slapchop painting technique, which, yeah, as I've mentioned before, absolute game changer for me, as I absolutely love painting miniatures now, because I can paint them, well, to a standard I never kind of thought I would be able to, and in such a short amount of time. So obviously this does rely on speed paints or contrast paints to sort of work. But yeah, if you're new to painting, or if like me you've been painting for, well, a couple of years but never really got any better and never really enjoyed it as much as you should, I would highly recommend using speed paints. So yeah, as you saw there, it's dry brushed in grey, dry brushed in white, and again here you can see just how much detail are in these miniatures. And yeah, so the Kickstarter, there's hundreds of miniatures and they are all as detailed as this, which is just mind-boggling because yeah, this must have taken them ages. And I'm just so chuffed that they've made one, well, for me. Obviously kind of looks a little bit like me, as in it's bald, it's got glasses, he's short and stout, and yeah, so I love it. So yeah, Speedpaints Army Painter, yeah, a big shout out and thank you to them as well for sending me their new range, their new set. As you can see in the background there, well, there's a lot of different sort of colours, which is pretty awesome. So I like to put mine in little pots and paint straight from the pot. Reason for this, I've kind of mentioned in a few videos you'd have heard me say, yeah, I am quite tight and I don't like the idea of wasting paint when you put it in a palette. So for me, painting straight out of the pot, yeah, it's definitely my preferred method, as well, there's no wastage there. So this is how simple this painting technique is. Speed paints, yeah, one paint, and it's got the sort of contrast in there, it's got some highlights in there, and obviously just like a normal looking brown. So one coat and I'm getting all three sort of different looks here, which is awesome. The only thing you do need to be careful of is not to get the paint on any areas, well, you don't want it, because obviously the idea is there's no redoing in this and you literally just go over the one area with whatever colour paint it is you're using. So that's why I've now gone to a much smaller brush, and yeah, being very careful not to hit areas that I shouldn't. There's a few bits here and there where I do accidentally hit them, but in general I am sort of keeping within the lines, so to speak. So yeah, it's kind of like painting by numbers. But yeah, having this big choice of paints from Army Painter, their new speed range, or speed paint range that's coming out soon. Yeah, so I've made the most of it and I've tried to use as many colours as I can, which is why I think this is now my favourite and my best painted miniature, purely because there are so many different colours in this. I say, because this miniature is so highly detailed, it kind of made sense to, well, use as many colours as I can to sort of make it pop as much as I could. So I did kind of just mention briefly there that I actually love painting now. So much so that with this model, I kind of got so engrossed in painting it, I forgot to film most of it. So yeah, as you can see, he's fully painted. And so this is the fact that I genuinely love painting miniatures so much now that yeah, I kind of got into a zone and I just loved it. So yeah, apologies there. I've not really gone through the paints I've used. I've not shown much of me painting him because I just thoroughly enjoyed him. So just going to finish off the base. Obviously you can see the base there. It's got PVA glue on it. Just in case you were wondering why it was looking a bit sort of white and glistening. So yeah, a bit of PVA glue. Just because every now and then I like to add a bit of the old flocking. And this flocking is a mixture of, I think it's 3 different grasses or different colour grasses, as well as some small bits of cork in there. Just to obviously sort of vary it all up. So yeah, that's how I'm finishing off this model. So I think it's time to see it in, well, its full glory. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I love the fact they've got an M and a H on the obelisks that are on his back. So yeah, Miniature Hobbyist is kind of in there as well. And yeah, I absolutely love this figure. I've made him a bit oversized, so I'm not going to use him in any games. I kind of really wanted him to look really nice and just sit on my desk, which is what he's going to do. So there is a link down below, guys, where you can check out Legend of Keepers. So the Kickstarter has finished, and well, it's certainly exceeded its original goal, and everything's pretty much unlocked. So go check it out. As always, a big thank you to all my lovely patrons and Chaos Cards for helping support the channel. It really does mean so much to me, guys. Link down below for Chaos Cards, where you can get 5% off when you purchase their miniatures. Okay, guys, yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Click on the other video that's obviously come up on the screen now. And yeah, you guys have a great day. Bye for now.